Hello, hello. Happy Friday. Hi, hi, hi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Tisha. Hi, Gizarikon. Hello, Tomas. Hello. If I pronounce your name incorrect, I don't mean to. I'm going to sing everything today. I'm really not, but I'm just creating a little bit of space. Hi, 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 everybody. I'm so glad you're here. How you doing on this beautiful Friday? I hope you're well wherever you are, morning, afternoon, or evening. Buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches. Hello. I want to pronounce your names, but I never know if it's your names or if it's just your handle, whatever they call. Kukulikalo. That's cool. I like the way the words, the letters all come together. Hello, Loredana. Hi, 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 hi. Aisha. Hi, 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 hi. Surabalam. Hi, hi, hi. Merhaba from Turkey. Merhaba, merhaba, merhaba. Hey, hey, hey. Hi, hi, hi. All right, let's talk a little bit. Okay, okay, okay. So today I'm just going to ask a question, and that question is going to be something like, is it possible? Say what? Is it possible to have a nurturing relationship in Turkey, in America, with yourself? How do you know when you're in one? Just see what comes up. Write it in the chats of wherever you're seeing me, or the comment section, wherever you're seeing me here. That's what I'm going to talk about today. Really briefly, is it possible to have a nurturing relationship? And how do you know if you're in one? Now, you know, when I first asked myself this, at one point, I was like, a what relationship? Oh, yeah, Tomas just wrote that down. A what relationship? Yes, I said nurturing. Nurturing. Or you can kind of, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this on social media, but nurturing relationship. Oh, no, just kidding. Nurturing relationships are actually easy.
That was easy.
But for a long time, it wasn't for me. And that's really all I thought about was this. Anyway, so how do you know if you're in a nurturing relationship? And, when I first started to get really, really committed, if you will, to choose different relationships in my life, I really had to look at what I was choosing. And I know. You want me to make it about the other people. And for just a second, of course, it's about everybody else. How's that feel? But it's really not about everybody else. It's really about yourself. And yes, there are some situations and some people that you've allowed into your life that have probably done some really crazy stuff. No different, or maybe just a little different. You've also done some crazy stuff. But this nurturing thing really started to bother me. It was like a thorn in my side. And I was having and struggling at one point with such an enormous amount of non nurturing relationships. Right before I came online, I asked my partner, and I said, so I'm going to go online, talk about nurturing relationship. So, um, how do you know if you're in one? And my partner was like, well, I'm in the best relationship. I was like, yeah, score. But I'm like, seriously, tell me. And my partner was saying certain things like, you respect me, you love me, you're kind to me, and you listen to me. And I have to say that I wasn't gonna share all this because it's a little different. But it was perfect because I literally had to sit there for a moment and you know receive it and receive. Um, are we having problems again? Not hearing me online. Let's see if I could fix that for you. Let me know, Aisha. I saw that you can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? If anybody's on Instagram, give me a thumbs up or something if you can hear me. This happened the other day. Anyway, let me keep going. So I had to actually take a moment to receive what was being reflected back to me. And I realized that in that moment, I actually attracted and have nurturing relationships. And that wasn't always the case for me. So, what did I do to change it? It's not, in this case, just about the other person, it's about me. And I had to make a choice when I realized that when push come to shove, as they say in America, who would actually be there for me? And I turned in my life and looked around, and there wasn't anyone. And I had people in my life, so I had to look at what I was creating, and they were non-nurturing relationships. Okay, so 1 second here. Let me see. I have to change something on Instagram. 1 second, please. Well, whatever that is about, we're going to change it right now. Give me 1 second. Por favor. And I'll get back to nurturing relationships. Thank you for having this commercial break. Okay, now I'm back on Instagram. Let me know if you can hear me on Instagram. All right. How do you know if you're in a nurturing relationship? Is it possible to have a nurturing relationship? And so, one of the reasons that I know that I'm in a nurturing relationship is I just asked my partner reflected back to me certain things like, you listen, you're kind, you respect me, and you love me. And I'm like, oh, wow, I really created a nurturing relationship there. I'm so proud of myself because I didn't have that reflection back. And now I have to learn how to now I have to learn how to receive that from my partner, right? That's the next part. But choosing to only have nurturing relationships in my life was a process because I actually had people, I was told this at one point, that the people that I choose to love would walk over my cold, dead body and never look back. And that certainly woke me up. Let me just tell you, if you hear that from someone, they tell you that, you know you're not in nurturing relationships. So it's time to wake up. Okay? What's the topic? Just joined. Are you in a nurturing relationship? And thank you for joining, Crystal. Um, and how do you know you're in one? So I gave some examples that how I've received some feedback recently with from my partner very recently, and just before I went on actually, and I was like, wow, score. And this came after, and the whole relationship and everything in my life for the last couple of years came from this one comment that someone made to me that people I had in my life and that I chose to love would walk over my cold dead body and never look back. Whoa. And when I heard that, even though I started to change things and a lot of things, that really made me put the focus on my relationships. And I did some decluttering. And it wasn't just some, it was a lot. And what I noticed for myself and see if this works for you too. And please write in the comments if you know how you know you're in a nurturing relationship, or if you have any questions, put them in the comments in the chats and I'll do my best to respond. Um, One, I knew that whenever I left a situation with anyone, if my body felt good, if I felt inspired, like I just got off a business meeting before I did this, and man, we were just like firing in all circuits. And I'm like, yes, I brought in the perfect team of people to do these things that I want to do. And that's amazing. And I feel fired up. That's a nurturing relationship in business. I go out to the kitchen, I have a little snack before I come on here, and I ask my partner, if I was to go online and talk about nurturing relationships, what would you want to know? And my partner said, I have one. I'm happy. You respect me, you're kind to me, you love me, and you have a lot of patience with me. Especially, she's been having some neck pain and headaches, and there's some things that have gone on. And I was like, wow, someone looks at me with those eyes of love and just reflects how I am with them, which was not how I allowed myself to be seen in the world. And it's not how people reflected that they saw me, but it is what's true, what was just reflected to me. So I know that I've created something completely different, and I know that I've desired to create something completely different because I made like a stake in the ground. I put my stake in the ground, a sword in the ground, whatever you want to say it. And I was like, I don't want anybody in my life, business or personal, that isn't nurturing, that isn't um, aligning with positivity, that we aren't collaborating together to create a greater result, whether it's the construction going on in my house, the food in my kitchen, me on Zooms at 6 a.m. in the morning with my trainer, countries that I go to do work in, online stuff, people in my business, my family, my partner, whatever. Nothing in my world is non-nurturing any longer. But for so long, my entire world was created from people would walk over your cold, dead body and never look back. But it was because I felt that way about myself, but I didn't know it. I love that you're saying you're getting better every day. That's all it takes is a 1 degree shift, Crystal. Thank you for bringing that. And I say this in all the classes. I've been saying this for years. All it takes is a 1 degree shift, which is why I'm doing these Facebook Lives. 1 degree, one awareness. When you're a captain of a ship on the ocean and you change the Nautilus 1 degree, that's a huge turn in the middle of the ocean. 1 degree of awareness. Follow that with choice and commitment and action, actualizes your target and rocket of desire forward. And then it brings and calls the universe to collaborate with you into the present, what you actually want. And sometimes you have to cut the cords to what's not working to really open to what really can work for you. And yes, David, I did do the access bars study many years ago. It was a beautiful study. Someone just actually reposted that online yesterday. So it's funny that you said that. Thank you. Um, Only participate in activities, trainings, sessions, activities, whatever it is, hobbies that nurture you. But you have to actually learn what actually nurtures you. A lot of times, before I knew this, I would leave a relationship kind of feeling like I was, or like an interaction out on dinner or conversation or supposedly a fun night out or whatever. And I would leave that and I'd feel kind of dirty or like been slimed. And I wake up in a bad mood the next day. I didn't know that I wasn't being nurtured. Hi, Jasmina. Hi, Fatima. And I didn't know it until I knew it because for me, nurturing was abuse. For me, nurturing was violence. For me, nurturing was being psychologically disempowered. For me, nurturing was being gaslit. For me, nurturing was paying people to do a job in my business that they didn't do and then blaming me for not doing it. That's what I called nurturing. It was a little backwards. Then I flipped it around and, ship pointed my sails in the right direction. Where's the right direction? From inside of me. I said, no, no, no. I'm going with my yes about what's nurturing for me. And, um, this is what I'm talking about I'm doing this series called Cage Talks, which is actually topics that bring up stuff that lock you in a cage, but you don't know that you're in a cage. You just can't change it. And I'm going to show you how to change it, becoming your own internal physician. And that's what Cage Talks is. We're starting that. We have a topic every couple of days for the next couple of weeks, Mondays and Thursdays. You're welcome to join. You could go to drlisacooney.com/events. I'm sure someone will post it in the chat somewhere. But this is the most important thing that I want you all to get is ask yourself, are you in a nurturing relationship? Crystal wrote, I love the energy word nurturing brings, like sexualness. Yes, sexualness, the energy of receiving, right? Think about, you can nurture yourself with putting food in your mouth. Like I love cucumbers, and I love cucumbers with a little bit of salt, or tzatziki, that kind of stuff. And just taking a bite of something you love can also be nurturing. Going for a walk instead of all this online stuff, or take a break from it. Like I did some of my book reading yesterday outside on my deck, and I got something from it, not being in here in the office. Um, Getting into a training program, taking up a hobby, like I'm learning Spanish right now, and I have Spanish lessons every day, and I'm speaking Spanish. And I've been wanting to do this for a long time. These are all things that I'm doing to nurture my relationship. Um, and at the same time, I'm also creativity is nurturing. I just published another book, Creating After Abuse, and I have the manuscript in my hand for another book called The Body of Change that I'm reading, and that's been 4 or 5 years in the process. These are all things that nurture me. Anyway, I'm going to do a little bit more about this, particularly about nurturing relationship and relationship in general, on next Monday on Cage Talks. So you're welcome to take a look at that on drlisacooney.com/events. And I see some questions here. Um, Thank you for saying that. Great question. Are you in a nurturing relationship? Sometimes we forget to ask ourselves this question. Like maybe there's a project you're doing for work, and you got to kind of do it because it's your work, but you've chosen to do it because it's your work, but you're kind of hemming and hawing and procrastinating about it because it's work. How is that nurturing for you to see your work as work? What if, because you wouldn't really be doing the work that you're doing if there wasn't something that you actually enjoyed about it and were probably damn good at it. So could you do what you're damn good at nurturing you? What would it take to change that? How can I be nurturing to myself right now? Maybe I'll have some water. Maybe I'll put some soft music if I'm in an office or something. If you're actually allowed to go somewhere, put your ear pods in so no one hears you. And if your hair's long enough, it will look like you don't have them in. Or meet somebody for lunch on your lunch break that inspires you, or be by yourself. Go pet your cat, walk your dog. This morning, oh my God, I'm going to have my social media team post this. This morning, I was walking around my property and I kept hearing this tick, 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 tick. I'm like, what the hell is that? Tick, 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 tick. Walking around my property in the morning is one of the ways I nurture myself. Talking to the trees and the land and the earth and asking what it requires of me today. And I heard this tick, 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 and I literally saw a woodpecker knocking on a tree. I'd never seen that before. We all know Woody Woodpecker. I'm kind of dating myself. Maybe you don't know if you're not born in the 70s or the late 60s. But I never saw a Woody Woodpecker alive, and I was like, sometimes it's okay to bang your head against the wall. And then the Woody Woodpecker moved to somewhere else and started flying around. And then sometimes you're done with banging your head against the wall and you move on to greener pastures, so to speak. That's what I'm doing here with Are You in a Nurturing Relationship? Maybe you don't, what you're banging your head up against the wall in relating is time to stop banging and move on. What would it take for you to move on? And how would you like to move on? Is it moving on the relationship? Is it moving on by doing something you haven't done before? Is it moving on by, pulling your pants up, your boot, by the bootstraps kind of thing, and like get to work? Is it putting that idea out there? Is it getting that certification? Is it putting your skills to use in a different way? Is it saying something to your partner like, hey, don't talk to me like that? Like, seriously. Tomas just wrote, random fact, Woody Woodpecker in Spanish is El Pájaro Loco, the crazy bird. I love that. Stop being a El Pájaro Loco and be, I don't know, bueno. But crazy is kind of fun. And thank you for your compliments. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having some fun with me today. Ask yourself, how do I know if I'm in a nurturing relationship? Am I in a nurturing relationship? And if you find out that you're not, don't worry about it. It only takes a 1-degree shift to change your entire life. It's not that hard. And it doesn't need to be your entire life. Sometimes saying something, sometimes going somewhere else and saying something with a trusted advisor, sometimes just checking yourself before you wreck yourself really helps. Sometimes feeding yourself some water, taking a break, going for a walk, reading something, learning a different language, just is the nurturance that's required. Body work, healing work, coaching, whatever. Ask for the contribution, the universe will give it to you. Join me if you'd like for Cage Talks or any other thing that I could be a contribution for you today. Here's one. No, if nobody has told you that they love you today, I do, in the most gentle, ease filled, loving way, in sanitized hugs, just because I care, just because I can. And you know what? It is Pajaro Loco out there in the world. So keep centered, keep nurturing as the focus of your life, and do it for you, because everything you do from you and from that nurturing place will make your life a lot easier. Trust me on this, because I know what I be talking about, because I went from one side to the other side, and this side is the better side. However, there was a lot of messages in the mess. It's all good as long as you keep aware, choosing, and moving. All right, my friends. Yes. I want you, like, that's what I've decided that recently. Loredana said, I love the inner physician. Yeah. I'm doing these lives because there's a lot of tools that I have accumulated over these 30 years of working with people and for people and in collaboration with people and on behalf of the world globally. And with what's going on right now in the world, I'm just like, we just need to contribute, give, put different energy out, and nurturing is a part of that. And hopefully this was something that was a benefit to you, even the 1 degree shift. Remember, put you first, love yourself, respect yourself, and be kind to you, and start wherever you are. Just a 1 degree shift will make a huge trajectory of change in your life. And I'm pulling for you. Go for it. Bye for now.